Welcome to Global Vision. Today is a special day because I have my dear friend, sister Lisa Silhanek with us, and we're going to speak about fashion, but from another perspective. And I think you're going to love what you're going to hear from her. I met her back in 2006 when the fashion industry was completely a different game like it's today. And that is exactly what we're going to speak about. Hello, Lisa. Welcome.
Hi, it's just so wonderful to see you.
Same here. I am delighted. So I would love that the audience know who is Lisa Silhanek and your relationship with fashion.
Well, I came into the fashion industry as a child model, and I just simply never left. I enjoy the presentation, the excitement, the newness, the continuation, all the things that are fashion, and it changes so rapidly. And that's part of what we'll talk about today is the rapid changes.
Yes, indeed. Remember when we met, and I remember thanks to you, I was the first time in a runway and I saw what is a fashion show. And actually, remember that you sit me with the sponsors. And I wanted you to explain how much was the cost back then on putting together a show and for designers or the companies to pay and how this has changed right now.
Let me take it back just another step, Bisila. Sponsors are so important to all industries. And what's unique about Fashion Week, specifically Fashion Week, is every editor is coming with an empty magazine, an empty television show. Um, every buyer is coming with an empty store, and every guest is coming with anticipation. So they're all walking into Fashion Week with open hearts and the desire to see something fresh and new. You open that to a sponsor who needs people, who wants, it's mostly women, yes, who wants women who are making decisions about what they're buying to be exposed to something. It's a beautiful time when someone's heart is open to tell them something new. So sponsors are picked based on what we think walks well with fashion. And the price point can range from a simple introduction to a massive explosion sponsorship. And the first one that comes to mind, of course, is Mercedes-Benz, because it was Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week that you joined us. But there are little things. We've done a lot of little things. I know from your Spanish connections, we've done Rioja wine tastings, all sorts of fun things. So it's not so much about the money as it is about, does it work? Does it walk with? But yes, you can do something for $5,000 or you can do something for 5 million or more, because I'll never not accept your money.
Of course. So for a designer from overseas, and we have some experiences about it, what was the average of cost to just a show?
Well, to show at New York Fashion Week with IMG in the tents is expensive, but it is also complete. You have your front of house, back of house seating, and you have your hair and makeup areas, and you have lighting and the ability to play sound, and you have your chairs, and you have an entryway, and you have security, and you have time, and you have a place on the calendar. Those are things that need to be considered when doing Fashion Week. And to do it at one of the premier spots is probably in the $250,000 range to step in. But if you told me that you had $5,000 to do a fashion show, you could still do a fashion show. So I don't want to put in anyone's mind a limiting belief that because they don't have big dollars, they can't do it. But there are ways to do it.
It is always a way to do it. I love
There's always a back door.
And I know you've been extremely ingenious trying to craft this kind of magic in order to make things happen for all kind of budgets. And what is your art? How could you do that?
I think it's the positive belief that anything can happen. And if instead of pointing towards disaster or the negativity, figuring out how we can make it happen. I remember you and I working on a show at the United Nations.
Yes.
And it was quite an extravaganza because it was multiple designers from multiple countries who spoke multiple languages, all of which I did not speak. And yet, here we were, a group of people gathered with the same desire to show fashion. And it was so much fun. Gosh, I miss those days.
I remember we have a bliss. It was great, 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 great. So you're an expert trying to bring awareness about a brand in the United States for different clients. And actually not only fashion, you did with people who do hypnosis, you did with people who do all kind of things. What is the method to really create awareness? Because this is such a vast market and you don't want to be lost into so much noise that is happening. But I know that you've been doing it. So
see, I learned it all from you though, Bisila. A person comes to you or to me and says, I have this and I'd like to introduce it to the American market. And you ask those very simple questions. I ask them too. Who is your target market? What is your product? Where can I find it? Let's see, who, what, where, when will it be available? How much does it cost? And then possibly, why do I need it? Or there's some additional questions.
Yeah, but I think that is right, the questions.
And then what do? We take our newfound friend with their newfound product into the stores, into the spaces that we think would be appropriate for them. And we say, where do you see yourself? Because you can't call Saks Fifth Avenue and say, I have a fabulous new product and it should hang in your store. Because you have to find the person who's in charge of the area where it will hang or be displayed. So it's better to find out where it should be. So the first thing we do is we go find out in your market, it hangs here. I remember you taking me through El Corte Inglés and showing me where everything hung. And then in America, it would hang here. So then we find the buyer and then we start the process. But it's figuring out how do I fit into a new market? And that's based on where you fit into your market.
Absolutely. And what makes somebody successful? Because in those experiences, we've been seeing people who really are able to make it and people who don't make it. And what you will say that is really the key for success to be successful in this market?
I think that most success comes from people wanting to do business with you. I love you. I want to do business with you anytime I can. You are good energy, you're solid thinking. Those are the things I'm looking for from a client and from the people that I'm contacting. I want response. Even if it's your product's no good, I don't want it. I want response. I want tenacity. I want clear thinking. I don't want my time wasted, nor does anybody else. So I want someone who's precise and concise. But the reason people are successful, because they're tenacious, they're positive, there's no traffic on the extra mile, they just keep going. And of course, you surround yourself with good people, it makes it easier.
That's for sure. I think that brings the importance of the network and how important it is in each market to really nurture your network, right?
Yes, and that's where you're so successful because you have the international network. And I know we all call you when we need help. But your network is where you go for your support system. So try to eliminate the negative people, the naysayers, Sometimes you have to hear the negative to fix it, but you don't have to live in the negative. And go for your cheerleaders. When someone says, I want to help you, how can I help? Figure out how they can help. Is it something as simple as loaning shoes for the models who come without shoes? Is it something as simple as standing at the front door and smiling at people when they come in so that immediately they feel happy about being where they are? Engage your friends, engage your coworkers. We love winning, right?
Yes, we all do. And just to conclude, how do you see the world of fashion changing, and what is the new ways to really communicate something? I mean, I know that in the last few years it has been many changes, digital and everything, but how do you see the future of fashion?
Bisila, it's not changed. It's still weaving a story. It's still telling somebody, showing them, making them feel something. We're seeing beautiful dresses coming off the shows right now, and all I can think of is, I cannot wait to meet Bisila for a martini wearing this beautiful dress, because they're telling me the story I want to hear.
Mm.
It's storytelling. Have a position, have a story, tell your story.
Well, I think that is just a beautiful way to just finish. The power of storytelling. Tell your story and find beautiful ways to say your story, right?
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much for being with us in Global Vision. We'd really love to speak with you. And I think that you've really been a source of inspiration for our viewers to understand tenacity, positive thinking, stop having around you naysayers, and really believe in yourself and keep going, because we like to win. So
We like to win.
thank you so much, Lisa, for being with us.
Love you.
Thank you.